Hey, what's up, guys? Rare Bishop here of the Press A to Listen podcast. And with fall just around the corner and some of the biggest games of the year to be released in the coming months, it's time to start releasing more video reviews. And this week we have one for the Golf Club. One of the first golf games to be released on Xbox One and PS4. Obviously, if you have an Xbox One, there's the Power Star Golf game, but that's kind of more arcadey, and this one tries to be a little bit more of a simulation type, kind of like a Tiger Woods. And it's one of the first to release on these new consoles, so let's just get right into it. If you're used to playing games like Tiger Woods, you'll know that they have multiple control schemes. You can use the 3-click method, which uses the A button, obviously, and they have the right stick, which is just you going down on the right stick and then up to hit the ball. The Golf Club has one control scheme, and it is the right stick. So you just go down on the right stick to pull your club back. You go up on it to hit it. And obviously, if you go straight up, you'll get a straight shot. If you go to the left, you'll hook it or slice it and stuff like that. This control method is preferred probably by majority of people that play golf games. Personally, I really enjoy the 3-click method. But the problem with it in the Golf Club is they don't do a very good job of providing you feedback of how much power you're putting on each shot. Obviously, when you go down, the farther he brings the club, the more power it's going to have. But so you know when he's going to have 0%, you know when he's going to have 100%. But when you get in that in-between stage of, I just want him to hit it about 85%, I want him to hit it about 80%, it's really difficult to gauge what that's going to be. If the game itself had in the bottom right, where it tells you the percentage after you shoot it, if it would tell you that when you cock the stick back, if it would say, hey, you're at 85 now, or you're at 80, it would make the game a whole lot more enjoyable and easier to actually play. But instead, you have to try to play this guessing game with it, and it just ends up not being a ton of fun when you need to get this precise shot down to get it on the green or to get it out of this bunker, and sometimes it just doesn't do that well. Another thing it doesn't do too well is when you're playing the other golf games, usually you can look at the course, and it will give you an indication of where the ball might land. It does not do that in the Golf Club. You have to kind of figure out, how much power you're going to put on the shot and hope that it lands in this one specific area. So it becomes a kind of, again, it's one like the power scheme. It becomes a guessing game, and it ends up turning the game to not being very fun to play. When you play these kind of golf games, you want to have some sort of assistance. Granted, there are people who don't want that, but give the people who want it the ability to use it. When I'm playing some of these hard courses and I don't know where the ball's going to land, it kind of hinders my experience with it. And on top of that, they have a win system in the game, which makes perfect sense. Win impacts golf games every time they play. But it feels like with the Golf Club, the wind impacts the golf ball way more than it should. When you're playing a certain hole and the wind's blowing 6 miles an hour, it feels like it's blowing about 20 or 30 miles an hour with the way the ball kind of turns. So there are really things about the gameplay that should be improved for the asking price of $35. I mean, granted, you get a good chunk of courses that I'll talk about here in a few minutes, but the gameplay itself feels like it's lacking in a bunch of departments. And with it being very similar to the Tiger Woods games, it's not going to be something that's very easy to pick up. So when you first start the game, you're going to have to go through some trial and error and figure out, how the control scheme actually works. Like I mentioned, you have to actually look at the courses, because there's some courses that have the greens are real fast, some of them are real slow. So it takes some thinking and stuff to actually master some of these courses and the control scheme. And when it comes to the actual courses, HB Studios made a few official ones. So there will be some that say TGC official. Those are the official courses that they have made. But the majority of the game is reliant on the community itself to make courses. There's a course designer called the Greg Norman course designer that they do a pretty good job of setting up and letting anyone go in there and fiddle around with it. You go in there, you set how many trees are there, you set how much water, you set how many sand traps are there, and you put how many holes you want. If you want one hole, you can do one hole. If you want a full 18 holes, you can do that. They make it real easy and real streamlined to create a course to where it's not overtly difficult for you to actually do that. Now, if you want to go in there and manage each particular aspect of a hole, like you want to put some wildlife there, you want to put some extra bushes, or you want to make a little incline, a hill, by all means you can do that. But if you don't want to, they do make it easy for you to master that stuff. And with that said, with the courses, if I make one on the Xbox One, which is the version of the game you're looking at here in this gameplay, that course will carry over to the PS4 and the PC versions. It won't say my actual username. It'll just say like TGC member or something. But every course made on every platform will carry over to the other platforms. So Xbox One courses will carry over to the PS4 and PC. That means that once this game is out, you should have no problem trying to find courses. Now, granted, some of the courses will be probably not very good. Some of them will just be people monkeying around with the system. But there is a rating system. You can rate it after you finish playing between 1 and 10. You can see by how many plays. So there's filters and stuff to make you try to find the courses that are actually decent enough to spend your time with. And that's all cool. Like, granted, there's not a ton of official courses. Hopefully they actually add some, or maybe some of the courses created by the community maybe eventually will be added as official courses if they're good enough. But the thing is, to be reliant on a community to make your courses, you got to hope that a lot of people are actually playing the game. If not, then you're going to play the same courses over and over. Now, as of recording this review a couple of days before the game's out, there's about 3,000 courses. So it looks like there'll be plenty to play for the people out there who pick up this game. One thing I forgot to touch on when it comes to the gameplay is the putting itself. It uses the grid-based system, which means that if the grid is green, it's kind of a flat surface. If it's red, there's more of an incline or a hill you need to go up. And this does a good enough job to know like what the surface is like, but it doesn't do a good enough job of telling you how fast the greens actually are. So if you don't look at the green speed before you start a course, you're just going to have to take a guess and a wonder. And that seems to be the whole crux of the gameplay here. Is you need to take some guesses. You need to just put your gut down on the line and try to figure out what you need to do. And that's somewhat good for some golf games, but majority of people who want to play some of these golf games aren't die-hard golf fans. They want to play it because it's something different, and it's something they can spend a short amount of time with. They can complete a 18-hole round in 20 or 30 minutes and then move on. And to sit there and not have any sort of assistance or any sort of tutorial, and for it to just throw you into the damn woods with this stuff, kind of hinders it a little bit, and it makes some people, the casual golf fans, not want to pick this game up because of that. Now, multiplayer is kind of a big deal with just about every game releasing nowadays. The golf club does it a little bit differently. The multiplayer itself is asynchronous. There's no actual, you go into a lobby, you find some players, and you play with them. What they call it is the live rival system. And what this does is if you have any friends online and they're playing a course, so let's say they're on a course and they're 6-7 holes in, you can go and join them and you can immediately start playing with them on that same course. But you don't have to wait for them to finish a hole to move on, where past golf games have done that. You have to sit here and wait, and if they're not very good at golf games, they're very average, you might sit there a couple of minutes, let them finish it. This time around with this system in place, you can finish a hole and move on. They can stay on whatever hole that they're on. But this still gives you the ability to join a party and to chat with them while still playing on the same course and getting some feedback on the course that you're currently playing on. And if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to play with your friends live and you want to just play against their ghost, you have that ability too. Once someone finishes a round, their ghost is then uploaded to the servers and you can try to beat their score, which is something that's in, mainly in racing games, but it's been in some golf games in the past. And it gives you the ability to play against your friends when they're offline. Even if they're not online, you can still go against them and compete. And that system's it's pretty good in the game. They have a message center that does a good job of alerting you of this stuff. So as soon as someone finishes a round, as soon as someone starts a new round on a different course, a message will pop up on the screen, whether you're in an actual course or you're just on the main screen dashboard. It'll pop up and let you know that. It'll say, hey, this friend is starting a course here. Or, hey, this friend finished this course 7 under par. You should check it out and see if you can beat it. So it does all that stuff pretty well. But if you're the type of person who wants to play local multiplayer, that is also in the game as well. But instead of it being kind of an asynchronous thing, it is just one controller pass and play. So one person swings the club, you pass the controller to your friend on the couch, they swing, and then so on and so on. So they do have that in there if you're not a fan of online play against people, if you just want to play locally. The last thing here that I'll touch on before I finish up the review is the game does have stroke play, it does have match play, and it does have 4-ball as the 3 modes you can try out. And you can also play a round, you can play a tour, so a 72-hole tour, Or you can play a tournament. You can create a competition. If you just want to invite your friends, or if you want to leave it open to everyone, you can do that. And at the end of that tournament's time, see who's the best and see who gets that. But the thing is, with these tournaments, you don't get anything for winning. Your global rating goes up, which they do a terrible job again of explaining what that even means. But other than that, winning a tournament doesn't get you anything but basically bragging rights. So when it comes down to the golf club, the gameplay is definitely missing in certain areas, and it's unfortunate because with it being the first golf game to be on both consoles, PS4 and Xbox One, it misses in so many areas, and it's unfortunate. I really was hoping for a little bit more, especially with the asking price of $35. I expected the gameplay to be refined just a tad bit more, and it's not there. So hopefully they fix it with updates and patches and all that. There are a ton of courses to play on, but the gameplay itself on those courses just doesn't live up to anything, and especially the asking price of what it is. You're better off if you have an Xbox One to buy Power Star Golf, which is I think $15 or $20 now, and it's just a better experience. The gameplay's tighter. It does a good job of teaching you the stuff. It's just an overall around better experience. So hope you enjoyed the video review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.